Welcome back, everybody, to the Standard and Rich podcast, joined by your hosts, Jonathan Alcubi and Danny Gallo. Today's episode will be a special episode. We'll be focusing mainly on the news aspect. So let's kick right into it with Danny. Danny, what's up with the news this week? It's been a crazy week.
Been a crazy week, so we'll just get into something pretty short right here. So Bank of Canada decided to cut their the interest rate, the overnight interest rate by 0.25. So the bank director Macklem told reporters this morning that if inflation continues to ease broadly in line with our forecast, it is reasonable to expect further cuts in our policy interest rates. Look, Canadians are obviously hurting right now. We're not having as much as a booming economy as the U.S. is. And the IMF came out beginning of the week this week saying that Canada's going to have the biggest growth out of the G7 next year with, I think it was 7% growth. But then when you break it down per capita, we're actually going to be decreasing. So, and that's the only group in the G7 that's going to be decreasing. So it's pretty bad. We obviously, the government and the bank has to start doing something a bit more seriously. Repo has also gone up overnight a lot. So it could be a signal that some of it was, I think, $14 billion that got injected. So could mean one of the big banks is in distress. So that would be one of the first times here in Canada, especially for one of those stellar banks. There was also reports. There was also Google that reported yesterday. Jonathan, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, let's talk about the Google's earnings. So this one obviously affected me. It's my second position, second biggest position now since Tesla fell and since I recently bought Lululemon. It's obviously changing a lot now because of this volatile market. Tesla got killed, but we'll talk about that later. So Google, they beat earnings. They came in 31. They were up 31% from year to year. So they did good there. They had good gross revenue growth, but the only problem was that their YouTube growth was supposed to be expected to be 16%. So it was expected to be $8.93 billion, and it came in at 8.66. And this came out very negatively with investors. They really didn't like this. The stock fell. Good margin from that. And another thing that the CEO said, I think investors like, but me as a long-term investor, I like this quote from the CEO, and I agree with it. So he said, this is about AI. He said, the risk of underinvesting in AI is dramatically greater than the risk of overinvesting in AI at this juncture. So this might not be good for short-term investors, but I think as a long-term investor in Google and the company, and I believe in their technology, and I think that in the long term, investing in AI is the future. So obviously, it's going to be more profitable to invest in it and be the first one there so they can get the biggest advantage possible. So I think it's a no-brainer for that. And they're spending another $5 billion on Waymo. I think investors didn't like that because that's more a long-term play, Waymo. And it also has a lot of competition with Tesla's robo-taxi. But we'll see how that market plays out. It's going to be interesting to watch those two battle it out. What about you? You have anything else?
So I love that quote that you just gave by the Google CEO, and that's why I'm so bullish on TSMC. So TSMC reported earnings last Thursday. So they had an EPS of 1.48 versus 1.41 expected. They had revenues of 20.82 billion versus 20.14 billion expected. The only place that they missed was on their gross margin. They came up over 53, which is their target is always to say over 53%, and they said it's going to probably be higher as well. So gross margin came in at 53.2% versus 53.6% estimated. They also gave a guidance of 22.8 billion versus 22.5 billion expected. So that's compared to last year. The revenue rose 40.1%. Their EPS and net income rose 36.3%. The only thing that decreased was their margin by 0.9%. Their companies, the Mag 7 especially, keep on investing so much money, and they plan on investing much more money, just like the Google CEO said, because they're scared of missing out on the AI and they want to be first to market. NVIDIA CEO spoke about that as well. He's like, you rather be the first to market than being one of the last ones in the market. And they're already seeing a lot of demand for their Blackwell chips. Talking about the Blackwell chips as well, according to industry sources, TSMC is gearing up to start production of NVIDIA's latest Blackwell platform GPU on the 4nm process. In response to strong customer demand, NVIDIA has reportedly increased its orders to TSMC by 25%. That's a huge jump. Also, comments made by the CEO of TSMC were, I also tried to reach supply and demand balance, but I cannot. Today, the demand is so high that I had to work very hard to meet customer demand. The supply continues to be pretty tight all the way through 2025. He hopes that 2026 is a little bit better. So what they're going to be doing is converting some of their 2 nanometer, not 2 nanometer, their 5 nanometers to 3 nanometer technology to meet up with the strong demand of the 3 nanometer chips. He also said that 2024 is a strong growth year for TSMC. The 2 nanometer chips, which is very performing and is a little bit more eco-responsible, is on track for volume production in 2025. So that's going to be huge. They're expecting third quarter revenues between 22.4 billion and 23.2 billion, which is a 9.5% increase quarter over quarter, and it's a 32% year over year increase. That's at the midpoint. So like I said before, they're looking at 53% gross margin in the long term, and higher. So that's just it. They're just meeting. If you want to have any type of AI play, TSMC is right in the middle of it. Could be NVIDIA. You want exposure to NVIDIA, you got it through TSMC. You want exposure through Apple, you got it through TSMC. AMD, Qualcomm, and I went through a bunch of companies that I have to go through all their earnings this earnings season. Let me just pull them out. I know there was MediaTek as well.
Did you
I
see
have a list like of 20 companies. Yeah.
Did you see there was a typhoon in Taiwan?
No, I didn't see it.
Apparently, hundreds of
I have to go
thousands
look at
of
that.
homes got flooded. I don't know if that
Oh, yeah?
affected TSMC, but
I could take a look at it. So look at this. Look at all the companies. So I went to see all the companies they serve. So Qualcomm, Broadcom, MediaTek, they also serve Intel. They also serve Sony, Texas Instruments that came out with great earnings. Marvel Technology Groups, Analog Devices, Huawei, Infineon Technologies, Xilinx. Then I went with smaller cap companies, Cirrus Logic, Novatech, Realtek Semiconductor, Oppo, Vivo, Lenovo, Micron Technology. Like, they're all over the place. So I will be keeping an eye on all these companies during the earnings reports to see what they report as future earnings as well. So because technically, if their future capex goes up, or if they predict higher capex or their capex has been rising, it will be bullish for TSMC as well. So yeah, I've been adding because in my head it makes no sense that TSMC has been dropping. Yeah, it's had a pretty good growth year to date, but I think the political pressures that are happening now and all the uncertainties in the U.S. right now has affected the stock quite a bit. And but I think it's just overblown. I'm willing to take the risk of an invasion in Taiwan or the Donald Trump winning and saying that he wants to get paid. Like, he never said anything about TSMC. He just said that they took 100% of their semiconductor and they just want to get paid for defending Taiwan. It's nobody could produce the type of chips that TSMC produces at their efficacy, and like, even if you want to help an Intel, they're still not going to get to the point where TSM is. So that's my opinion on TSM. I want to add more, but at the same time, I don't want it to make it. It's already my number one stock in my portfolio. I want to make Amazon my number one stock in my portfolio as well. So 1-2 there, and I'll probably be adding more. It'd be dumb not to add more. I'm very, 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 very bullish on TSMC. There's also Tesla that reported earnings yesterday. So, as Jonathan said, they got demolished. Look, were we expecting a good quarter in Q2? No. Were we expecting a better quarter than Q1? Yes. I wasn't surprised. All the things that I did sell my position just because I know how the Tesla stock works. I'm gonna jump right back into it when I like the price it gets to. Because once it misses, it always goes down for a few days or a few weeks. So I rather get back, take my profit, and then get back in.
Listen, if this plan doesn't work,
I'll
you're
tell
gonna
you
look
why.
really stupid.
Yeah, I know. If it doesn't work, I'll do like Bradley, sell at a certain price and get back in higher. Okay, I'll pull a bad Bradley. Shout out to you, Bradley, man. We had
Thank you
nice
for showing us that
exchanges.
strategy.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. So Tesla earnings came back. EPS was 0.52 versus 0.62 expected. Revenue was record revenue actually this quarter. It was 25.2 billion versus 24.74 billion expected. So what we've said on other podcasts, what are we really bullish on? The energy sector, the 25K car that's coming out most probably next year, Optimus starting to ramp, FSD, and I think there's starting to be less focus on the car production part, except for, let's say, the 25K car that's coming and the Model Y refresh. What I would do if I was them is probably don't touch the prices, let them as is, because some people don't want to buy the car because they think that the prices are going to get cut and they're going to go lower. No, so I think they stay at this point. They don't touch their gross margins. They should be okay. So they had record cash and investments on hand. So they were at 30.7 billion in cash. Actually, on X there was a poll if they should invest $5 billion into XAI. So Elon was doing a post on that because somebody, one of the shareholders, said they should do that. And I guess he's going to bring it up to the board. So plans for new vehicles, including more affordable vehicles, remain on track to start production on the first half in 2025. They produced 50% more 4680 battery cells than Q1, and continued to see cost improvements. So that's very important because if they build those batteries themselves and cut down cost, that's what helps, because they want to put that in the Model Y as well, if I'm not mistaken, but they're not producing as much. And so right now they're using all those battery cells to put them in the Cybertruck. Talking about the Cybertruck, it's on track to being profitable by the end of the year. So I think 2025 is when they're going to start producing the lower end models. Tesla energy gross margins were at 24.5%, which is flat. Uh, but it's flat, but their energy storage and their energy deployment and storage was up 100% year over year. So, and as well, Optimus is performing tasks autonomously in one of their facilities. So, like we said in another podcast, they're still planning to have thousands of them inside their factory by next year. Rest in peace, factory workers. Uh, um, so yeah, so what do I want to say? So Tesla energy. A lot of people have been saying, yeah, but the amount of sales that the energy is, it's nothing compared to what their sales are for their car. But it's becoming a bigger and bigger part of their sales. So if I go through their revenue, so yeah, 19.8 billion was automotive revenue and 3 billion was energy storage. Okay? So, but that's from before, so let's say Q2 2023, so 1 year ago, their car sales were 21 billion and their energy was 1.5 billion. So already there it went from, let's say, approximately 5% of their revenue to now 15% of their revenue. So if it keeps going up at a 100% click, yeah, their car sales dropped as well.
7%.
But let's say, okay, so let's go Q3 2023, okay? A little bit more closer. Or even Q4 2023. So their car sales, their car sales was, let's say Q3 2023, car sales was 19 billion. Their energy was 1.5 billion. Q4 was 21 billion for their car and 1.4. You understand? Now they stayed around the same for their automotive, but their car doubled. But their energy doubled.
You know what I'm worried about that? So how much do they have to spend in order to get that return? Like, what is the ROI on their energy assets? Because it's all capital intensive. You got to put a lot of money for whatever they're doing. Those batteries, solar panels, that type of shit costs a lot of money.
So if you look at their things, they it's not the solar panels. The solar panels, they don't do that anymore. Well, they didn't even come out with with any data about their solar divisions this time.
Well, it says energy generation and storage revenue, so they're obviously generating.
No, but that's through their batteries. So any excess. So you have your electricity at home, right? So we have Hydro-Quebec in Quebec. So any excess of that energy goes to that battery.
Yeah, that's not generating. They generate. They have solar panel farms.
Yeah, but the solar panel is not profitable. They might have put both together. I guess.
But that's just the revenue line. We're just looking at the revenue line, the 3 billion.
Yes, but they make practically nothing on their solar. Their solar is not good. Like they haven't. I don't think they've put too much emphasis on it. So it's looking like their investment in Solar City wasn't crazy. So, anyways, so yeah, so now it's like 15% of their revenue compared to 15. Let's say it's getting not closer. There's still ways 10. To go. Well, but let's say let's say 10% of their revenue compared to 5% of their revenue last year, or even less than that. Yeah, 22.
Do you know why car sales dropped? Automotive.
Well, look at Ford. Look at Ford.
Ford's getting killed.
Ford got killed today. Killed. GM is canceling their GM is not. Let's look a little bit. We're gonna look at it on the spot for Ford. I have my. Yeah. I'm not even going to look at Ford. Look at Ford after hours, what it's doing. It's probably getting destroyed.
So it's down 11% after hours?
Okay,
Eleven
that's
point
it.
five.
So let's compare apples to apples. So let's compare to their EVs, how they did with their EVs. Okay, EV vehicle volume minus 23%.
Year over year.
Okay, year over year. EV revenue minus 37%. Q2 EV EBIT margin of negative. Okay, minus 99.5 billion. They're doing horrible,
So
horrible.
they're losing a bunch of money.
They're losing. They don't want to invest more money. Even Elon Musk commented on that. They're losing so much money. That's why in Canada they were supposed to build a EV plant. They're making that into a Ford F-150 plant, not into an EV plant. And I'm pretty sure the government gave them money. Uh,
They
yeah,
need to bring
GM
the
said
real
it's
Mustangs
GM
back.
is saying it's scaling back. Rivian just got technically saved by Volkswagen, but I'm sure Volkswagen's gonna pull the rug on them. Because they just wanted that technology because they get access to the IP from Rivian, so Volkswagen's technology is not that great. So I guess they're gonna get access to the technology part of Rivian, and they can do whatever they want. 4 or 5 billion for one. They put 1 billion. They have the choice if they want to put the other 4 billion in afterwards. So, anyways, so if you see, let's say 100% is pretty high for the energy sector, but let's say you put it at 50%. Okay, half of that. So by next year it's going to be 4.5. Let's say the automotives it's going to be pretty flat because interest rates are pretty high as well. So let's say it stays the same. Now you're going to be at 45 compared to 2. Then the next year, you know what I mean? It's just
Automotive is going to
uh,
stay flat next year too.
no, I think for the rest of the year it's going to be
If
pretty
China does well, they could do
flattish.
well there.
Yeah, if I go look at the China numbers, because you could look at how many Teslas have been getting registered in China. I'll go take a look right now. It's been pretty good, decent. Let me find it. Yeah, so it's been pretty decent. I think it's a little bit higher than last year. They're having a bit of trouble. I think it's in California. And 12.5 FSD just came out as well. Elon said, talking about FSD, he thinks by the end of this year or else next year it should be solved. So I guess that's when you're going to start seeing a robo taxi as well.
Next year, you pushing it back?
Everybody started. No, the event is going to be October 10th, 10/10. Wow, look at this. Miles per crash, okay? On streets.
Mm-hmm.
Cruise is at 43 miles per crash. Okay?
Cruise, 43 miles per hour.
Yeah.
That's GM, right?
Yeah, that's GM. Waymo is at 476 miles per crash.
So they're worse than Cruise?
No, they're better. They have to do 476 miles before they crash.
Oh, okay.
Cruise is 43 miles. Okay? Tesla is 3,200 miles before they have one crash.
So they're like
They're way ahead of the other ones.
7, 8 times better.
Yeah, exactly. 8 times better. I had the
Shit.
numbers in front of me. So yeah, their numbers so far I think this year are pretty solid in China. Um, I think
But
Q1 was pretty a disaster, but since Q2 it's been on its way up. I have it right here. So last week they sold 10,500 cars compared to last year where they sold 7,700. Last year at this point they were at 317,000 cars. 317, 574 cars. This year they're at 307,787 cars. So look, they have way more competition than last year, and their Q1 numbers this year were garbage.
What's the Mega
So
Pack and
far they're
Powerwall?
catching them. That's their energy storage.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the energy storage graph. It doesn't grow like 50% every year. It's just like this year is like an anomaly.
They did say it's going to be up and down like that, but it should stabilize at a certain number and then go up. Tesla Semi.
I think they just made a big
Roadster should be
investment.
coming. No, a lot of people have been buying. Like you could go see all these not China, all these companies in Australia. Actually, I did a post on that. Let me go find it out.
Yeah, but all their earnings are in Q2. It's
Look
like
at this.
look, Q1 2023. Then it goes to Q2, it's flat. Q3, it's flat. Q4 dropped a bit. Q1 this year, it's flat. Now Q2, it's skyrocketed double. It's up 100%, as we said right before, right?
Look
But
at this.
it's just like a one-time thing.
The Texas project's names Lumina 1, Lumina 2, and Radian will utilize Tesla Megapack BESS solutions, which with each comprising 86 Megapack units. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's 86 times 3 times the price. Let me go find it. Tesla Megapack
They're doing well in China, though.
price. So the
I'm looking at the
Megapack
market share.
is like 1 Megapack is $1 million.
You need
A
87.
million 30 times 1,039,000. Let's say like this. So just from that project, they're making 260 mil, 268 mil of that one project.
Okay.
Plus the maintenance. The maintenance costs 8,800 per year. And the price escalates at a 2% per year. And that's just in California. Let's
So
see if there's
I'm
other.
looking at their EV market shares. In China, it's consistently growing. It's at 11. No, it's at 12% now in China. But it's been in the. It says the world except for China. So basically everywhere else except for China, it's been flat since Q3 2023. So we had like 2 quarters flat, and we're at about 5% for the world, except for China. And China, we're at 11%. So China is doing really well. I don't know why they're flat in market share growth for the last 2 quarters, but
Oh, look, they have so much superior. Um, Look, you have so much competition that's coming in now too, right? So especially in China, where they're copying all their cars, just making them cheaper, right? Um, and me, if market share stays the same, it doesn't really bother me. What they did was Tesla helped all these other companies. So they wanted GM, they wanted Ford, they wanted the legacy companies to invest in EV because he didn't patent the battery. He even sent it to all the CEOs and showed them how to do it in a guideline. He wanted to take head on to gas vehicles. So he knew these people were going to try to put money into EV, but it was going to cost them so much money to invest in EVs. So he made them lose money by doing those types of investments because they thought it was going to be easy because they already had the way to do it. So yeah, in general, that's really my thoughts on Tesla. He did say that 2026 was going to be production for Optimus version 2. Version 1 is going to be only in their factories. And he says they could scale it to 20 billion units. Or what, 8 billion units on Earth? I know, I'm getting like 2 for home and like 3 for the restaurant. That's for sure. That's for sure. And yeah, so that's it. So just to recap fast, we're not gonna pick stocks this week. We're just gonna recap the winner of the picks that we did 1 month ago. So the pick that we did 1 month ago was TransDigm for Jonathan, and I had Formula One Racing. So TransDigm for Jonathan was minus 6.22%. And your champion, your all-time favorite, with Formula One, was up 10.14%.
What's the score now?
If I'm not mistaken, it's 5-2 right now.
Fuck, it's not looking good for me.
Language, young one.
You think YouTube doesn't like it? This is why we're not getting any views.
Yeah.
It's the swearing.
Yeah, it's the swear. Gotta fix that up. So
yeah, but I think once the compact car comes out, I think Tesla will gain their market share a lot more.
Yeah, I think the compact car is going to be, as long as it doesn't take a hit on their automotive margins, if they could keep it around the 17%, like this time was 14.6%, but if they could bring it up to that 15, 16, 17%, and be able to scale that vehicle, I think investors will be pretty happy. And then you have, I think the take rate for FSD, hopefully that takes off at one point because it's only $99 a month. CAD it's $99 a month. USD it's $99 a month. So hopefully that picks up as well, and that becomes like a number that we'll see in their report just growing and growing. But they have to achieve a certain number before they start disclosing those exact numbers. Right now, they're probably just burying it in other revenues.
So how come Formula One Group is up so much?
So Formula One is up so much because I mentioned them on this podcast. That's what happens when I do picks. They just go up. I have absolutely no idea. I don't think there's that much news that came out. I guess was there Formula One races in the past month?
I don't know. I didn't watch. I didn't pay attention.
I didn't really watch too. I've been too concentrated on TSM and Amazon.
So people should take your financial advice. Is this financial advice?
This is not financial advice, guys. Listen
This
to
is
the
for
disclaimer
entertainment
at
purposes only.
Listen to the disclaimer at the end of this video. Most of the times we do disclose the stocks that we do own. So I do not own Tesla anymore, but I will own Tesla again. I just
in the future.
took profit.
Full disclosure.
Yes, in the future. Full disclosure. I'm looking at it to get back in the low 200s or high 190s.
And I still
Get
own
back
it.
in there.
I never sold, and I'm just down.
Yeah. The biggest bear became the biggest bull, and the biggest bull became not a bear, just profit taker.
But now you're down, or like you sold at what price? You sold at $215?
I sold it, around $215. It was up 16 to 20% around there.
So now it's at $216, so it's higher. It's higher than what you sold.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not gonna compare apples to oranges. When I sold it at $215.50, I think it was, I saw it go up to $221. I'm like, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. And
why don't you just be like Bradley and buy back? Buy back higher.
Yeah, I try not to do the sell low and buy higher thing. So we'll see.
Okay.
I'll probably you know what? I'll probably be back in before October 10th.
Yeah, you
That's what I'll
have
be
to.
saying.
You have to do it before the big meeting.
Normally I do. Normally I do get back into the stock before a huge unveil comes out.
You think it's gonna do well after the unveiling?
Like it has to, or else the stock's in tank. Stock's in a tank.
Well, listen, if it drops to 140 again, I'm gonna scoop up some more shares.
That's what I'm talking about.
Before we go, a quick reminder. While we love discussing financial topics, we are not financial advisors. The information provided in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.